Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback theater.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just did what no one saw coming, and she did it live during this year's March Madness Finals. From the second that Caitlin Clark stepped into an interview with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, she didn't exactly filter her thoughts. The instant she joined, the energy lit up the entire segment. On a Zoom call with two of the greatest WNBA legends of all time, Caitlin Clark owned it. No scripted answers, no PR filters, just raw confidence, sharp wit, and a whole lot of truth. This wasn't just a routine chat about the season or a lighthearted recap. She peeled back layers on her development, her mindset, and the lingering chatter around her name. From the initial smile to the final wave, there was a sense of honesty that fans don't always get to see.
Well played. Sounded like a product placement.
There we
Our
go.
show loves it. Our show loves it.
Especially when two WNBA icons are the ones asking the questions. And by the end of the interview, it was clear, Caitlin Clark isn't just stepping into the league, she's ready to shake the entire foundation of it. So what exactly did Caitlin Clark say that has everyone in the basketball world buzzing? Stick around because Caitlin didn't hold back about many things, such as Diana Taurasi, her workout routine, and even confronted the lies that Cheryl Swoops has said. Let's get into it. Do you guys remember the controversial statement that Diana Taurasi made about Caitlin Clark? Diana didn't forget as she then chimed in, recalling how last year she half-jokingly warned Caitlin that reality would be harsh in the pros. Just a year ago, Diana looked straight into the camera and gave Caitlin a now viral warning. Reality is coming. Just listen to what she said.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
It was a challenge, a reminder that dominating in college doesn't mean much when you step onto the hardwood with grown women who've been running the league for over a decade. Now, seeing Clark's performance, she had a very different perspective. Diana openly admitted she'd underestimated Clark's ability to adapt at lightning speed. She noted how unusual it is for someone so new to display such veteran poise. The exchange had a playful tone, but there was mutual respect brimming beneath each statement. No disclaimers, no sugarcoating, just pure honesty about Caitlin's rewriting expectations for WNBA rookies.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats.
Now,
to you.
unfortunately,
Well,
reality is
thanks.
coming to me now.
What's your big plans? What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10 years.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark was more than just a regular matchup, but a generational moment. Reflecting on their first ever game against each other in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't hold back in the arena's atmosphere. It felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. The hype was real and the crowd was electric. This moment was more than basketball, as it felt like a torch being passed in real time. Diana spoke with admiration, saying how amazing it was to finally compete against a player that has dominated college hoops.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe, and to be on the court and the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that fits a lot, like we've been doing this for a long time. To see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again.
Caitlin Clark's response? Just as classy, but with that signature edge. She also reminisced on the Phoenix game too, but for her it was personal. "We were down by like 15 points and came back to win," she recalled with pride. That wasn't just any ordinary game to the Fever, but a defining movement for the team. Facing a legend such as Taurasi and winning is the type of stuff that builds confidence. Caitlin was sure to note this.
Well, I was saying, like, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time, and it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you.
This moment became bigger than just a single game. It was a collision of eras captured in real time. One career is coming to an end while another has barely begun. Either way, the impact that they are both making is timeless. You can see as they banter and laugh during the interview that this moment is a perfect depiction of having the past and future collide in harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You're adding Natasha Howard, who she knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like?
Caitlin Clark is heading to the new season with some firepower that puts the league on notice. Clark couldn't stop cheesing when she spoke about the Fever's newest acquires, from their new coach, Stephanie White, to veterans such as Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. Even brought in defensive specialists such as Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, as well as a sharpshooter like Sophie Cunningham. With all these new players, Caitlin knows that the challenge is to get everyone on the same page and chemistry to flow before the season starts in a couple of weeks.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but you only have, we start training camp I think on the 27th, and then we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, it's more than half of our roster. That's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, we added a lot more experience. In the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group. Even Kels, obviously with being with the Fever during her entire career, she hasn't really had the opportunity to play in a ton of playoff games. So having that, whether it's Sydney Colson, whether it's DB, whether it's Natasha Howard, whoever it is, I think having that experience is going to be really good for us and that leadership in the locker room. So I'm excited.
Sue Bird didn't hold back from bringing up the college days either. She poked at the idea that Caitlin's widely recognized for out-dueling some of the biggest programs in the NCAA. Bird reminded her of those intense rivalry matchups, painting them as stepping stones that shaped Caitlin's approach to the game.
Well, when you think back to playing against South Carolina last year in the final game, what was some of the things that, listen, you had a great game, but what were some of the things that were difficult for you playing against the South Carolina team?
You could see Clark grin a little, clearly proud, but also reflective. She described those rivalries as a fire test that forced her to refine her shot selection and leadership. They were moments she treasures, not regrets. And hearing her talk about them with two legends felt like a merging of distinct eras of basketball.
Different but similar.
Yeah, they have so many different weapons, and that night we played them, it felt like every single one of them was just so good. I think they put this up there earlier, Tessa Johnson comes off the bench, or maybe she started last year, I can't remember, and had 19 points. There's just so many different people. Even if one person's not having a good night, it's just on to the next, and it's hard to prepare for that, and it's hard to stop all of that.
Check this out. The conversation took a sharp turn when Sue Bird mentioned swirling rumors about tension in the Indiana Fever's locker room. Cheryl Swoops made headlines by claiming the Indiana locker room was toxic.
And all we heard that whole week was Indiana, they don't get along, all this. And I'm great. And then I'm this is the most together team I've ever seen.
Is that one of the hardest things for you as a pro now? Just seeing all the narratives like that one, that your team didn't get along, and just having to literally ignore it, deal with it, even though you know it's not true?
That rumor's been floating around ever since Cheryl tried painting the place as chaotic. Caitlin's response was a firm shake of the head. She clarified that while every team experiences normal highs and lows, the narrative of a fractured environment just isn't true. "This is the most together team I've ever seen," she said. She insisted the group is tight-knit, committed, and fully supportive of one another's growth. With Bird and Taurasi listening closely, Clark expressed her frustration that such gossip often overshadows genuine progress happening behind closed doors.
yeah, I mean, I think it's something you kind of just become used to. Is like people think they know what's going on inside of your locker room, and they just don't. At the end of the day, it's just, you know, the girls that you have in there, and then obviously your coaching staff, and that's all that matters. And honestly, like, the best thing about last year is, like, we honestly had so much fun together. Yeah, we lost our first 8 games or whatever, but, like, we wouldn't have won if we didn't have a tight-knit circle or a good locker room. And that's the reason we kind of turned everything around, is just we, like, needed some time. We were a young group, and, you know, we figured it out.
But that's not all. Diana pressed Caitlin about whether she's ready to handle the physical toll of the league's pace and contact. When asked about a viral offseason photo that showed her looking shockingly ripped, Clark cracked up.
This off season, there was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened?
Like, how did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
Then she actually lit up at the question, sharing how she's been hitting the weights more than ever. She credited a fresh off-season regimen that includes everything from agility drills to specialized endurance workouts.
I'm trying to get stronger, like a lot of time in the weight room, and it's like something like I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to like spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And, you know, I think the biggest thing on the court is just like that mid-range area. Like, I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's like, I didn't really have any floater. I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot. So just getting more comfortable, like when I get my feet kind of into
the mental aspect got equal attention. She confessed that last year forced her to become a more vocal floor general, which didn't always come naturally. Now she's determined to master both the mental fortitude and the new skill sets demanded by the pros. Every part of her game is evolving. She's not training to keep up. She's training to dominate.
Honestly, trying to just add a floater to my game and, you know, finishing through contact and little things like that. But I think just going back to the weapons that we've added this year, like, there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and it should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team.
It gets even more interesting. Sue Bird couldn't resist asking about specific NCAA foes that shaped Clark's style. She dove into her rivalry with UConn and legendary coach Gino Auriemma.
That says something about Coach Auriemma. Caitlin, you have battled against UConn throughout. I mean, you faced them, what, 3 times in the NCAA tournament?
And it was clear. She hated facing his teams, but respected every second of it. From ball screen traps to full court pressure, Gino's teams never made it easy. Caitlin recalled the intense scout reports, the lockdown defenders like Nika Moole, and admitted those games were chess matches.
Well, I think they just are so disciplined. Like, that's just, they're going to do what they do. They're going to do it really well. And also, I think, like, for myself, facing his teams, like, they always had some of the best scouts against me. Like, you can tell how smart he is.
Yeah.
Like, he understands the game. He's coached against so many really good players. And, you know, there were games I would go into and, like, the scouts were just like, it was just like, come on. Like, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But, like, you just made it difficult. Like, he would throw different defenders at me, and obviously having Nika Mule last year, like, she's probably one of the better defenders that I've faced.
Clark singled out certain coaches known for craftiness. She recounted her toughest in-game adjustments, praising how those staff members forced her to analyze defenses in real time. Hearing those reflections with Bird nodding along showed how Clark's not just a highlight reel. She's someone who thrives on deep tactical understanding. That's the hallmark of a generational point guard.
Like, she's just up in your grill. She'll pick you up 94 feet. Like, but then he just always has an answer, has different people. And I think that's one of the best things about him. Like, he has one game plan, but then he has something in his back pocket that he can go to. And that's going to bother you again.
But that's not all. Diana couldn't help but reference the critics, specifically those who'd questioned whether Caitlin's success was partly hype. Clark broke into a slight grin, acknowledging that hearing so many opinions can be overwhelming. She said the best way to shut down the negativity is simply to deliver results. The key is focusing on internal goals, not external chatter. She wasn't confrontational about it, but there was a clear edge. If you doubt me, watch my next game. Bird and Taurasi nodded, evidently recalling the pressure they faced at that age. It gets worse for those expecting Clark to conform to a squeaky clean persona. She openly defended her fiery style, explaining that those bursts of emotion on the court aren't for show. They're part of what fuels her.
Say that again, Caitlin.
How many second pulls did you get last year?
So last year, I think, what's the I think the limit is 7 and you get
7,
suspended.
yeah. You got 6.
I got
I leave that
6.
to you two. You two know the limits.
I got 6 too.
I
But
had
this
2 my
year,
whole career.
Hey, you
This year
got
I'm
a couple
not.
too. I can see it. Yeah.
Oh wow, Sue, you're so perfect.
Being polite or subdued just isn't her. Bird seemed fascinated, pointing out how some rookies dial down their intensity to fit the professional mold. Clark responded that people want authenticity, so toning herself down feels dishonest. She's aware of the delicate line between healthy swagger and stepping out of line, but she'd rather risk it than become a watered-down version of herself. But listen to this. When Sue Bird pressed Caitlin on her next big target, the young star said she's focused on turning the Fever into a genuine contender. She didn't talk about personal accolades, but team synergy. She wants more fluid offense and fewer mental lapses. Bird's eyes lit up, pointing out that a leadership approach like that is exactly what sets Clark apart. Instead of fixating on points or individual achievements, she zeroes in on intangible factors. Even Taurasi, known for her unwavering confidence, seemed impressed by how balanced that perspective is. This is the kind of shift that could define the league's future. But that's not, so that's what went down. Caitlin Clark, in a remote chat with two of the greatest ever, peeled back the layers on her progress, addressed rumors, and laid out a blueprint for dominating the upcoming season. Caitlin Clark knows the pressure she's under, the expectations, the spotlight, but she's not running from any of it. She's embracing the grind, the leadership, the chaos, and she's doing it her way. By the end of the call, it was obvious. She's not just the next big thing, she is the moment. Drop your thoughts below. Are you as hyped for her next season with the Indiana Fever? Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.